Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football. I'm Harper LaBelle, and today our draft prospect show is going to feature a Georgia, a guy who's just from right around the corner from us there in Athens, Daylen Everette. To talk about today's show, our producer and engineer is Logan Landers, but to talk about Daylen is our co-host and founder, Vincent Turner. Vincent, he's a five-star recruit. He's a junior, and it looks like he's going to go into the draft and be a part of the National Football League. But Daylen Everette comes with a lot of skills. He's 6'1", he's 190 pounds. But with his skill set and the things that he does well, there are a lot of folks that are really criticizing this young man for really, really specific stuff. Explain to me why Daylen Everette is a guy that we want to look forward to talking about and maybe a very high draft pick.
The level of competition. Last year, when he became a starter, he was playing across from Kamari Lassiter, who's right now balling out in Houston, playing for the Houston Texans. Young man had some games last year that was up and down, but the one thing, he got better at the end of the season. This year, he came as a true leader on the defensive side of the ball. And see, I always go on what other players and other coaches say about your ability. I never get wrapped up in different writers, people trying to rail on players, people saying Caleb Williams is an epic bust. I go on what other people say about you because they are in the locker room with you. That's why I got an NFL guy with me who's the best of the best, Mr. Harper LaBelle. You know who I'm throwing the shot at today. But you look at Mr. Everette. I think here recently he was most MVP in the SEC championship game, right, Harp? I think he was the best player on the field.
Yep.
Okay. 2 interceptions in that game. But what stuck out to me was what all his teammates said. Dan Jackson, Jalon Walker, Mr. Bucker's award winner, and Kirby Smart. They say out of all the players on the team, not Carson Beck, not Trevor Etienne, not Aaron Smith, he was the most deserving player because he works hard and he always seems to bounce back from adversity. Because remember last year, I know a lot of you Dog fans, y'all were railing on him. But right now, he's a surefire NFL first-round pick. Check all the sites out. He's got everything you need. Electric, effective cover corner. Outstanding upsize. Great player on the ball. Of course, he might get some interference penalties, but he comes back to the SEC championship game against Texas. Them 2 critical interceptions that contribute to Georgia winning that football game. And it reminds me of a gentleman that I looked up to and I saw play in high school that was 4 years old that he used to be a good friend of my cousin. He was a first-round pick, same size, by the name of Mr. Keith Simpson. One of the best football players that ever came out of Memphis City school system, was a first-round pick of the Seattle Seahawks in 78. He's got a little bit of Mike Richardson, who played corner, same size. Chicago Bears, we all talk about how great that defense was, Hawk. The greatest, some people say, of all time. And then Don McNeil, that played with the University of Alabama, same size, and went on to the Miami Dolphins. He's got a little bit of that in him. And when you're looking at a corner, hands are active. Instincts are active. And playing under Kirby Smart, you know Kirby Smart get his players ready for the next level. Kelly Ringo is in the league. Javon Bullitt is in the league. Kamari Lassiter is in the league. Malachi Starks is going to be a first-round pick. And the one thing I heard people criticizing about a little bit about his tackling, right, Hart? But after that Kentucky game, a lot of these writers said, oh, now he can tackle because he had 9 tackles in that Kentucky game. This is a very special football player, man. That's played at a high level and has played in some serious football games. And I don't expect him to do anything different when Georgia plays Notre Dame on Wednesday night. Great length, great size, and a guy that teammates love him. Out of Norfolk, Virginia. Played 2 years in Northview High School, then went on the IMG Academy. And you know the competition level is off the charts there. And he still was a 5-star recruit, and he still is going to be a first-round pick. Go Dogs. Back to you, Mr. Harper LaBelle.
Well, some of the guys, and I take this pretty seriously. Guys that do this for a living. And let's just take Mel Kiper for an example. I know we don't mention him, but Nell is looking at hundreds of different players all throughout the course of the year. And I respect what they do. All of them, not just Mel. And when you got, let's just say 10 defensive backs, and you got to rank them. And one of the comments was that this guy, he's got good length. What does good length mean? I know what good length means. What is good length? If you're going to be specific and say, well, this guy's a little bit taller, and this guy's got longer arms, and this guy's got shorter arms, so I'm going to move him down. I think Dalen ends up getting criticized for being in a bunch of guys and not really sticking out. He's there with them. He's a starter at the University of Georgia. And tell me what that has meant for a lot of players over the last 5 or 6 years. They're all, not every single one, but many of the best at the University of Georgia, they're all playing very well, as Vincent just mentioned, in the National Football League. But where does he rank? So one of the things that they criticized him about was he had hip tightness. How do you measure that? Does it just on film, it look like he can't turn very well? He has hip tightness. Someone wrote that down and put that down. Lack of presence in the run game. That's speed to compete with receivers running vertical routes. You know what that's saying? Man-to-man coverage. That's a weakness. And this is where he's had to come from this. So you're slow and you don't tackle very well, and you're not very good in coverage. Are you kidding me? So I think Dalen, he heard it, but he didn't listen to it. And he probably used that for motivation. And I'm going to get in the weight room, and I'm going to spend a little extra time with my coach after practice. And then I'm going to try to really be specific and work on something every day when I go one-on-one against the wide receivers. And he has developed into a guy that I think he's taken advantage of his situation where people were saying out loud, he's okay. He's not great. And then him wanting to be great and working real hard. Am I wrong, Vincent?
Hey, you're totally correct, man. And your reputation and your experience goes a lot further than anybody out there writing, because you want to know why? See, to all you writers out there, it's going to be different here when we get into 2025 rating these players. And you want to know why? All you people down there that's calling players epic buses. See, I got a gentleman, a handsome gentleman, who played the game, who's income back, who knows what it takes. All y'all do is watch game film and form an opinion. But no, I got the real deal. You're totally correct, Mr. Harper LaBelle. And he played 11 seasons. He's seen it all. He's done it all. He's been on the field with some of the greatest players. LT, Albert Lewis, John Riggins. He's not sitting up in no parlor watching his wife get his nails done and informing opinions. And I love it. Back to you, Mr. Harper.
Well, what I love is a guy like Daylen Everette working hard and trying to get better. That's the way you got to do it. It's called hard work for a reason, guys. It's not easy. And I think that some of the proof in the pudding after the SEC game, who's got the microphone, who's going to go, hey, we're live right now, and who they want to interview him. So God bless him. I hope he has a terrific time getting himself ready for the NFL. But I think progression for him has gone in a way where there were some folks that saw him going backwards or going down the ladder as opposed to going up. And he's been turning it around, and we'll see. As of last year, before this season started, he was a third rounder. Vincent, you just said, you know what? He might get called in the first. So two things appear in that. One, that hard work pays off. And two, there might be an extra zero or a comma in your check because of what you have done to get yourself better. So last thoughts on Daylen Everette before I give some stats and we move on.
Looking forward to him playing on Wednesday night against Notre Dame down there in New Orleans. Very special football player. Back to you, Hawk.
Yeah, I bet they're delighted to have him in the backfield, and it makes it a lot easier for the rest of the guys to do their job. Well, doing your job is what Dylan's done. He has 56 tackles coming into this final game there against Notre Dame. He has one sack, a 15-yarder, 2 pass deflections, 3 interceptions. He's forced 2 fumbles, and he has 1 fumble recovery. This is a 6'1", 195-pound junior from Norfolk, Virginia, and his name is Daylen Everette. We are honored to talk about him and so many of the other draft prospects throughout the remainder of this offseason when we get to talk about all the young men that are getting themselves ready for the draft. And we look forward to bringing some more highlights to you and different players. For Vincent Turner, for Logan Landers, our producer and engineer, I'm Harper LaBelle. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Draft Prospect Show here on 100 Yards of Football. Have a fantastic day, everybody.